right, as we get started today, I want you to graph this system of equations. Take just a few minutes to do so, and then we will go over your homework, but starting out with a graph of a system of equations. Set the Cartesian plane on your graph paper. Again, either the intercept method or slope-intercept form, whichever one is easier for you for that particular equation. let's go and take a look at the classwork problem here. The first equation was already in slope-intercept form, it's just backwards, right? Instead of y equals mx plus b, it was mx plus b equals y. That's okay, just put the equals y on the other side. So y is 2 over 1x plus 9. Now, because of my graph grid, I started the 9. I guess had room to go up 2 over 1. Instead of rise 2, run 1, I dropped 2 and went backward 1, drew my line. You could have also used the intercept method, and you would have found negative 4.5 to be your x-intercept. Of course, we already knew the y-intercept was 9. For the other equation, again, could have used the intercept method, I suppose, which in case I actually should have hit my negative 7 right here for my x-intercept. I went slope-intercept form, then moved the x over, divided away the 2. Started at negative 3.5 or negative 7.5, rise 1, run backward 2. It wasn't perfect, but it looked really close to negative 5, negative 1, so I was pretty sure that's what it was supposed to be. After I wrote it, I did go ahead and double check, and yes, that is the point it should intersect at. How many got negative 5, negative 1? Any questions on the graphing method? How would we describe this system of equations, class, since the lines intersect? Consistent system of equations. Good. Turn your textbooks to page 166. Let's look at the homework. You had number 16 through 24, the even on this particular page, where you were solving by the elimination method or the addition method. The book refers to it as the elimination method, though, where you are using addition to eliminate a variable. Page 166, number 16 through 24, the even. Let's get the answers first, and then we'll go over any questions that we might have. Of course, the first step in solving by the elimination method would be to line up, Maddie. Good, the x's, the y's, the equals, the numbers, get everything lined up. Then we want to pick a variable that we will class eliminate, hence the term elimination method. Two things have to be true for a variable to be eliminated. What are we looking for here, Noah? To eliminate a variable, the variables have to have the
same number,
but
different sign.
Good, same number but a different sign. They have to be inverses of each other, and then we'll add the equations from there. So the 16 through 24, you're desperately looking for it. And then the 9 through 17 back on page 162. Yes, sir?
Can I go to my locker?
Yes, you may use your freebie. Gavin's like, that's not fair, I don't get a freebie. Yeah, anyway. Alright, so number 16. What did you get for your answer, Maddie? Kind of came out weird. Good, 13 sevenths. Negative 5 sevenths, or perhaps you had 1 6 sevenths, 5 sevenths, where once you get your first answer, whichever variable it was, you do not want to try plugging that back in. So literally we're going to solve the whole thing through twice. Once you cancel away the x's, another time you'll cancel away the y's. Number 18, also some weird looking answers, Brecken.
Negative 6 over 11 and 26 over 11.
Those are the right answers, but flip them around. The x was actually the 26 elevenths. The y was the negative 6 elevenths. So make sure we write in the coordinates 26 elevenths, negative 6 elevenths, or perhaps 2 and 4 elevenths, negative 6 elevenths would have been our answers there. How about number 20, Maddie? Much easier answer that time, right? 2, 0, nice and even. Number 22 came out evenly, but there were some bigger numbers than we're used to seeing. Aren't you glad you didn't have to try to graph this one, Bracken?
16. Negative 31.
No, Maddie. 2633 should have been our answer for that one. Again, that's not fitting on our Cartesian plane, even on your graph paper. You've got more room than I have on the board, but that's not fitting on any of our graph grids. We'll take a look at that one in just a moment. And back to Brecken for redemption on 24.
4. 15.
No, close, Maddie. No. All right, should have been 4, negative 7, our answer there. Let's take a look at these. Brecken, your face tells me you did not get number 16 correct. The 13 sevenths, negative 5 sevenths?
For 16,
For number 16.
I got 13 sevenths and 23 over 7.
All right, so you got the first part of it correct. So I'm assuming, Brecken, on the very first problem, were you able to find it, Noah?
Yeah.
You did. Okay, I'll come take a look at it in just a moment. I'm assuming you got rid of the y, right? You multiply the top equation by 2 to get a 4x positive 2y equals 6. You already had a 3x negative 2y equals 7. You canceled, got 7x equals 13, and hence x equals 13/7. So far so good, right? So that's my x answer. We go ahead and write that down, or 1 6/7. Now, where did you get that for the x? For number 16.
Yes.
Okay. Then, Brecken, I don't want to plug this back in for x. So instead of plugging in for x, we just get rid of x. So last time I got rid of y, now we're switching our focus. Now I want to get rid of x. What number do I need to make the x's drop out? 6. So that means the top has to get multiplied by and the bottom by all right, did you do that? All right, what was your top equation?
Negatives. Well,
Initially.
Negative 3 was 6x. Positive 3y.
Well, 9 for now, right? And then the bottom equation?
6x. Negative 4y. Negative 14.
Equals 14. There we go. So that's what we should have had after we multiplied. Then we've got to pick one of the equations to put our negative sign through. And which one? Top one. So make that negative, negative, negative. Now the 6x's cancel. For our y's, we add to get. Careful, signs are the same. Add and keep the sign. Negative 7y, which I think you actually had that. But then right here, I think you added to get 23. The signs are different. One's positive, one's negative. Should have gotten a positive 5. And we divide both sides by the negative 7. That's where we get the negative 5/7. So I think it was just a little sign error there.
I think right here.
You had negative
I wrote
14?
Negative 14.
Gotcha. Okay, so careful with that. Noah, did you have this correct answer on 16? All right, number 18, Bracken. You just had your x's and y's reversed. Matt, are you good to go on number 18? 26/11, negative 6/11. All right, number 20, are we good? 2, 0. All right, number 22, Bracken, you had a little bit of trouble here. 3x negative 5y is equal to 3x negative 2y is equal to 12, and 7x negative 5y is equal to 17. Which variable did you get rid of first? So you had to multiply the top by and the bottom by 2. What do you get when you distribute?
15x negative 10y equals 60. 14x negative 10y equals 51.
Should have been 34. I think you did a 3 times a 17 there. I think you might actually be looking at the wrong line, because later we're going to want to multiply maybe a 7 and a 3 perhaps. So, but anyway, careful there. 34. Where do I want to change the signs now, Noah? Top or bottom? Definitely the bottom. That's where the smaller numbers are. So if we change the signs across the bottom, we're not going to wind up with negatives. We're going to wind up with just a plain old 1x or x. And right here, that's where we get the 26. So there's our x value. Now, we could make a case for, that's a really big number. And we might decide, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to resolve, and this time I'm going to get rid of the x. I could do that if I didn't want to plug the 26 in. What do you think, Noah? You want to plug in the 26, or you want to just get rid of the x and start over?
No, I plugged in.
You plugged in the 26, top or bottom equation?
Top.
Top equation. So it's not 3x, it's 3 times 26 minus 2y equals 12. 3 times 26 gave you? Or should give you? 78 minus 2y is equal to 12. Then what do we need to do?
Bring the 78 over.
Good, or we could actually do this. This is what I would recommend, is bring the 12 over, so we're subtracting a 12 from a 78, and send the 2y over so it's a positive. That way we don't have to mess with negatives. I hate negatives. You got the, kind of like fractions. All right, so what would that give us here?
66.
And therefore y is 33. And there's our answer there. Questions on that? Maddie, did you have that right answer? Okay. You did or did not get 2633? Did not. Brecken did not either. Questions on this? All right, and then the last one was number 24. Neither of you got it. What did you get for 24, Noah?
10 and a half and negative 3.
10 and a half, negative 3. Interesting. Okay, let's take a look at 24 here. We've got a 5x positive 2y is equal to 6, and an x positive y is equal to negative 3. Let's have Noah, let's have you start out. What do we need to do?
I will multiply.
The
Bottom. By 5.
by 5, okay? So that means my bottom equation is going to become
5x plus 5y equals negative 15.
good. Again, don't forget to multiply all the way through. Top equation is still for now a 5x positive 2y equals 6. The 5x's don't cancel yet though, Brecken.
Change this on from the bottom.
Okay, let's go here with the old top equation. And that's where the smaller numbers are. So let's change the signs there. Of course, the 5x and negative 5x cancel. Here we're going to get 3y is equal to, careful here, good, negative 21. And when we divide both sides by 3, we're going to get y is equal to, class, negative 7. Make sure we write that in for y. Make sure we plug it in for y. Right? By the way, I would have probably multiplied the 2 just because it's smaller and I'm lazy, but 5 wasn't that hard, right? When we plug in the negative 7 here, that's x plus negative 7, or x negative 7, equals negative 3. I need to move the negative 7 over as a positive to get Maddie. And there's our answer for negative 7. Questions on this? Figure out where we made our mistakes. Questions solving by the elimination method. Clear your desk except for a clean sheet of paper, pencil, and a straight edge. Clear your desk except for a clean sheet of paper, a pencil, and a straight edge. We're going to take a quiz over just the elimination method and the graphing method, as well as all those terms I kept telling you to study. Hopefully you did. In the words of Han Solo, which Brecken would know nothing about, I have a bad feeling about this. Paper, straight edge, pencil. We're going to take quiz 29. When you get your quiz, put your name at the top of the paper, along with today's date, which is 4/2/21. 4/2/21. So there at the top of the quiz, just write your first and last name. I know there's not a blank that says name, but just write it at the top. First and last name, and today's date, 4/2/21. Fairly straightforward, numbers 1 through 5. Fill in the word that would best complete each statement. For number 6, I've given you a system of equations. I want you to graph them. There's some room down there, some blank space where you can do your work. And then write the solution in the blank. Write your solution in the blank. Make sure you label the graph grid and all of that stuff as well. And then 7, 8, 9, you're going to use the elimination method. Do write your answers as ordered pairs. Be sure to show your work there as well. All right, you may begin. finishing in the next couple of minutes. Just real quickly. Still have a couple more.
Look like that from you.
Alright, we'll continue working a little better. Alright, go and take your homework out again, if you would. This time turn to page 162. We didn't go over this part of the homework yet, simply because it wasn't going to be on the quiz. Page 162. And again, an alternate method. Different people's brains work differently. And so the substitution method for some, in fact for most of my Algebra I students, not their method of choice. But for others, it may be, hey, this just makes more sense to my brain. Regardless of whether you like it or not, you have to know it because you got to be able to use it next year. So let's go and take a look at the substitution method. But page 162 in your textbook. Struggling today. Page 162. Is it in your textbook by any chance? Maybe around page 166?
Oh yeah, there it is.
So now we want to be on page 162.
I just had it right here.
Alright, let's take a look at number 7. And number 7 was kind of insultingly easy. We had negative x equals negative 1, and we had negative 3x plus y equals negative 2. And really that first equation isn't much of an equation. It's almost an answer. We just change the signs, and what do we get here, Noah? X equals 1. So we already know our first value, our x value, our abscissa. And once we know that, we can take the 1 that is x and plug it in for the x bracket, so that our lower equation now says, good, negative 3 times 1, which is negative 3, plus y equals negative 2. Of course, to finish solving, we just to get positive 1. And there's our answer, 1, 1. Did you get that for number, that's number 7. I assigned you to do number 9. Any questions on number 7? Let's take a look at number 9. Almost as insultingly easy. 2y equals -8 and a 2x positive 5y equals -14. Yeah, that's the one I asked you to do for homework. Maddie, that first equation, very simply we just get, I'm sorry? Y equals -4, and there we've got our ordinate. How many got that on the homework? Y equals -4. Oh, Maddie. Question, Maddie.
No.
Maddie, what should we have done next?
Plug it in for the Y.
Plug that in for the Y, because that's what Y is. Y is -4. Plug it in right there. Our lower equation becomes, bless you. Where, of course, we should then there we go. Did we get that for number 9 on the homework? 3 -4. Good job, gentlemen. And Maddie got it now. Okay, she was just a little slower about getting it. Wait till the next day. All right, number 17 from the homework. This is a little bit more like what we would typically see as far as quizzes and tests. I'm not going to insult your intelligence with stuff like this. Maddie's like, thank you. Just kidding. We're going to give you really a more reasonable looking systems of equations on quizzes and tests. And the key to the substitution method, though, like we saw here, is to get a letter by itself. And really, of the 4 variables, the first x, the first y, the second x, the second y, there's only one letter that's even remotely good to get by itself, Brecken. The second x, right? So let's rewrite this bottom equation so that it says, good, x equals 4 positive 5y. But just like we could take a -4 and plug it in for y on the first homework problem, just like we could take a 1 and plug it in for x on the non-homework problem, so we can take 4 plus 5y and plug it in for x in this homework problem, so that, Brecken, my top equation now reads, well, let's don't try to distribute, just write it out.
3 times 4 times 5y, -4y.
And I think that's going to be important to make that first step. Just write it out. Just take the x, gone, put the 4 plus 5y in, and then solve it from there with the sound effects. Very important. Though in study hall, Miss Morris might be wondering what on earth you're doing. Anyway, what do we do now, Brecken? Okay.
12 positive 15y, -4y, 34.
Continue.
15y, -4y, -11y.
Keep the sign of the greater.
11y.
Positive 11y. And while we're combining here,
Bring the 12 over.
so that 11y equals,
22.
so therefore y equals 2. The advantage of the substitution method, again, is it gives you an equation exactly like what you've been working for literally months now. Almost a whole year we've been working stuff like this. The other advantage is once you get your first answer, it's really easy to get the second, so long as, Brecken, you now substitute this back into the rearranged equation way over here, right? Where we messed around with the equation a little bit. And if we'll plug the 2 in there, we get 4 times 5, or 4 plus 5 times 2, or 14. And there's our answer. Did we get 14 too for number 17? Again, Brecken, I know you mentioned at the end of the quiz, I'm just struggling with this. Maybe this method is better for you. I don't know. The point is you get a choice. Now, as long as there's a variable that's easy to get by itself. That's why you need to have the addition method also. But, and we'll continue working on it, obviously. Questions on this? Go back up and do number 11 at your seats. Do number 11 at your seats. Again, somewhat insultingly simple, but work it anyway. I'm certainly not one that's above insulting people. Right, Brecken?
Right. He's the nicest person ever.
Say what?
You're the nicest person.
I nicest, I know, I just try to be so kind and caring. It's like, I love my students, I show them I love them, I just have a different way of showing them. Some people are like, you are so smart, you're gonna do great things one day. I'm like, stupid kid, get your... I don't think I actually sound like a stupid kid. I might call Noah that, but doing number 11 there on page 162. Now that you have your book open to page 162, like I said about 10 minutes ago. Noah, Maddie, you're both finished. Good. Poor Brecken. A rough day for Brecken. All right. Number 11, we got a negative 2x positive, or negative x positive 2y equals negative 5. We have a 2x equals negative 6. Noah, as Brecken frantically tries to catch up, what did you do? Walk us through.
I divided that by 2.
To get?
X equals
X equals
-3.
negative 3. And now, well, for one thing, that's one of our two values. But also, now that we've got x by itself, we've isolated a variable, we can take that and plug it in for...
X.
What do we get when we plug that negative 3 right here?
3.
Positive 3. It's negative 3 plus 2y equals negative 5. You don't necessarily have to show that step. You could certainly go straight to the positive 3 plus 2y equals negative 5, but it doesn't hurt to show that step. From there,
Bring the 3 over as a negative to get -8.
so that we have 2y equals negative 8, and then?
95 by 2 and get y equals -4.
And there's our answer, negative 3, negative 4. Did you get negative 3, negative 4? Brecken? Good! He finished just in the nick of time. All right, now that Brecken's with us, though, now Brecken's going to show off and dominate this. Look at number 16. Let me ask you, which letter do we want to get by itself, Maddie? The y in the bottom. But it's a negative y. What's the best way to get the y by itself very quickly? Double switch. Do 16 at your seats. When you double swap, did you get 2x negative 2 equals y? Did you plug that in here for the y so that you have 4x plus 3 times 2x minus 2 equals 24? On your distribution, 6x negative 6. When you combined, did you get 10x? When you move the negative 6 over, did you make it a positive 6 to get 30? That's the problem. You had 18? Okay. Yeah, it becomes a positive, so 30. So instead of a, goodness gracious, that would have been 9/5. Ugh. Yeah, much easier with the 3. And then the 3 plugs in easily here to get the other. Good to go?
I did the same thing as mine.
Same thing. So when you brought your negative 6 over, you kept it as a negative. You too. Stop it. All right, Brecken. How'd you do?
I don't even know what I did.
All right, well, let's take a look here, Brecken. Did you double switch, like Maddie suggested, the 2 as a negative and the y as a positive to get 2x negative 2 equals y? You didn't do that. He's like, I ain't listening to Maddie. What do you think this is? Noah listens to Maddie. Well, look at him. All right, tell you what. While I'm working with Brecken, do 19. While I'm working with Brecken, do 19. All right, let's see what happens here.
I just brought that one over and then I changed all the signs.
Ew.
Yeah. That's big enough.
Yeah, okay, so, oh my. So you left the negative y. Oh, that's the problem. If you sent the 2x over, the 2x would have been a negative, right? You leave the negative y where it's at. When you send that 2x over, it would have been a negative. So negative 2x plus 2. So that when you change all the signs, that's a positive. Which makes that a positive, which instead of a 2x makes it a 10x. You got the 30, but instead of a negative 15, you just get 3. And then it would have been right. So that was the only mistake, was when you sent it over. And that's why, again, I don't like moving positives, especially with variables. Moving this positive over as a negative, I'd rather move the negative y to get the positive and then send the 2 over. All right, number 16. That was 16. Number 19. Tell you what, Brecken, they've got a head start on you. What I want you to do is walk me through this problem. Tell me what to do. Do it at your seat as you're talking to me. So you can be looking down at your paper. Just talk loud enough so I can hear you.
Get the y by itself.
Okay.
Top equation. The y equals 15 negative 4y.
Good.
And then you will plug that in for the y in the bottom equation.
Good.
Get 3x plus 5 times 15 negative 4x equals 41.
Good.
You distribute at the bottom.
Good.
Get 75 negative 28
Good. And of course, we still have the 3x at the beginning, right?
equals 41. And then you add the 3x to the negative 20x. You get 17x.
Keep the sign of the greater.
Negative 17x. Bring the 75 over as a negative 75 to get some negative 34.
Good.
So just the negative 17x equals negative 34 divided away the negative 17. To get negative 34.
Well, 17 actually divides evenly into 34. How many times do you think 17 would go into 34?
At least twice.
Exactly twice.
Really?
Yep. And you got a negative divided by a negative gives you a
Positive.
positive 2. All right. Then what?
You plug in well, you write down the coordinate and put 2. And then you go to the top equation.
The arranged one.
You plug in 2 for x, negative 8, and 15. That just did like 7 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. There we go. 2, 7 is our answer. Maddie, did you get 2, 7? No, what did you get? 2, 7. And you eventually ended up with 2, 7. All right, doesn't help 34 divided by 17. That's not one we learned in school. All right, 22 at your seats. 22 at your seats. Careful with your negatives. Remember, negative times negative gives positive. Excellent. All right, your homework this evening is a handout. If you're watching on YouTube, Gavin, it's in the description, a link to this document. Here's my only requirement on the handout. I'm going to give you freedom to choose. Right? So far, I've been telling you, do it this way, do it that way. I'm going to give you freedom to choose how to do these 8 systems, except at least 2 need to be substitution. You can do them all substitution if you want, I suppose, but at least 2 of them have to be substitution. So pick and choose carefully. Now, there are some on here you really would not want to do substitution. There are, I think, 4 of them that you could. I need you to at least do substitution on 2 of the problems on the handout. We'll take a look at this on Monday. Next 5 lessons are going to be shortened. Okay, we're going to have short little lessons because next week we're doing achievement testing. Getting a late start, so short lessons, Gavin coming up. And so 35-ish minutes for the next several lessons. But we'll get as much accomplished as we can in that time. All right, you are dismissed. Have a wonderful rest of your day.